Good morning. This is Susan, and this is Susan's Ramblings. I'm on day 2 of Pantry Mixes, of mixes that you can make from your basic pantry shelf ingredients and put them together and put them in uh, I usually use a Ziploc bag, okay? And then they're available whenever I need them, rather than going uptown and buying to my grocery store, which I will admit is very expensive because it's in our small town. But at least if I have these mixes on my shelf, I can do them myself. I can eat them myself. I can use them whenever I want to. And these will keep indefinitely on your shelf. The first one I'm going to start out with is Tang Tea. It is getting colder here in South Dakota, and the mornings are cooler. We're not down to 20s or 30s yet, but we're in the 40s and the 50s. And so it is getting a little bit chilly. Most of us in South Dakota, excuse me, don't turn on our furnaces until it gets way down. And I mean way down. So the furnaces aren't in September. This year we're still running the air conditioners, believe it or not, at this time. And so the furnaces won't come on until maybe another month from now. We usually try to hold out until October. This year I think we're going to have no problem doing it. Definitely by November they are on. So this is a Tang tea, and this is a tea that would help you this winter because it's got all the ingredients in to help your immune system. It's got lemon, it's got orange, it's got cloves and your cinnamon, and this will help you with your immunity. It will also help you if you come around with a cold or the flu, to help you get some liquids into you. So this is a very easy one. You just combine all these things together. You put them in an airtight container, and then you add some to your hot water, or if you wish, you have your cold water. The next one we have is, I'm skipping all over here on these things, is rice seasoning mix. You can all buy your rice-a-roni and so forth, but it's a lot cheaper to make up your own. Now this one has got almonds in it. I generally leave the almonds out. I don't cook with almonds or nuts that very often, simply because they're so expensive and I can't afford them. But if you want to, you can put them in definitely. This has, I can't stress enough, to make sure you have all your basic seasonings, all your basic spices, all your basic dried herbs on your shelf, because you're going to need them to spice up your food, so you don't become so tired of just plain old rice or just plain old macaroni, so forth and so forth. So you got to have those things in your cupboard. And if you have those basic seasoning mixes, or seasonings, and herbs and spices, then you can make your own seasoning spices. And I have a bunch of them coming up after we finish this, provided we have the time, okay? This is your rice seasoning mix. I'm going to move it down a little bit further so you can actually get the ingredients to begin with. And see, it's got all your basic seasonings in. It's got your bringing cubes, the granules, and I don't buy cubes anymore, or very seldom. I buy the granules. I do buy a lot of bouillon cubes, but it just depends on, okay, but for these recipes I use the granules. It's got parsley flakes, basil, dill weed, minced onion, salt, seasoned salt, garlic powder, lemon and pepper powder. And to cook it, to use it, you add 2 cups of water, 1 cup of long grain rice, and then you combine everything together. You throw all the almonds, the bouillon cubes, granules, parsley, onion, herbs, and so forth. Put them all together, and put them in an airtight container in a dark, cool place. You're going to have 10 servings, 10 batches of rice with this mix. Okay, to prepare, combine 3 tablespoons of seasonings, your rice, your water, bring to a boil, reduce heat, and simmer for 20 minutes until it's done. So it's a very simple recipe. Very easy recipe to do. And it's a lot cheaper and a lot healthier than those that you can buy on the rice-a-roni that you can buy on your pantry, on your grocery shelves. Yes, and I'm having trouble again getting this apart. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, this one is spaghetti sauce mix. I know you all like spaghetti. I think there's very few people that don't like spaghetti. And yes, you can buy your own spaghetti sauce, your own sauces uptown, but it tastes so much better if you make your own. And this is a simple recipe, again, like I said, that you would have on your shelves, of all things you would have on your shelves. So, there you go. There's your recipe. You put the first ingredients together. Again, it's things you should have on your pantry shelf. If you don't, please get them and put them on your shelf. It's got different seasonings in it again. It's got different herbs in it. But you should all have a good supply of these on your shelves. And if you don't, even if you do, I plan on going out and getting more. Because I don't know how long they'll be available. I am going to grow some of my own. I'm going to grow dill. I'm going to grow parsley. Basil and all that, and I've got the, I guess you call the equipment, the things needed to do that. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and they will be done soon. Okay, so then you just use this recipe. The only thing extra that you would probably use is the can of tomato paste. Now I have several cans of that on hand. But if you take your tomato skins or you buy a tomato powder, you can make your own tomato paste, your own tomato sauce. And I would suggest that because, like I said, I think we've got hard times coming. I'm not sure we're going to be able to find tomatoes or tomato paste or tomato sauce even on our grocery shelf. So get some, okay? If you happen to can your own tomatoes, save your skins, dehydrate them. They can be dehydrated in the oven, and then you powder them all up so you paste. So anyway, it's also got ground beef in, and you know how expensive ground beef is. You can buy cans of ground beef. You don't have to have a whole pound of ground beef. You can just have flavorings, or with a flavoring. Or the grease, you got the grease. If you've done the ground beef sometime other time, and you have the grease, you clarified the grease, just put a little bit of that in there. You got your sauce. You got your taste. That's all you need. Okay, next one. Pea soup mix. Yes, I know we all have beans. Most of us have beans, and we have scunna split peas, and there's all those things on our shelves. But I find it a lot easier if I just put these things all together, and then I just grab a sack full of it, or the sack, and I get my batch out of it. I need this one makes several batches, as you can see, with all the peas and the lentils and the pearl barley, pasta, so forth and so forth. Also uses basic seasonings. So there you go. All right. I just put these things all together, and then when I need them, I just take out my 1 cup that I have, and you gotta admit there's more than 1 cup there. I don't know how many batches it makes. I would say 4 or 5 batches at least. And you have that. I might leave out the dry yellow split peas. I can't generally find them in my area without going 50 miles one way. So I will use the dry green, 2 of the dry green split peas. I also have a combination of beans put in bags like this, and I make my own, 16 bean soup or whatever it's called. And I have looked at those soup mixtures, and I have discovered that I can buy most of those things those beans and peas and so forth a lot cheaper than what I can buy that bean soup for. And so I make up my own. Okay. And there again, I just use basically this recipe, except I add navy beans to it. I add navy beans to it. I had northern beans to it. I have kidney beans in it. I have split peas in it. I have lentils in it. I have chickpeas in it. I have everything, every kind of pea possible, or bean possible that I have in my store that I can get. And pinto beans and black beans, all those beans. So that's what I use for my soup mix too. Okay, there's split pea, and just use the same recipe basically for your bean recipe, except add all different kinds of beans. Next one, muffin mix. I like to add this in the pantry because it's so easy to grab one of these. Grab it and quick make it up, and you got your muffins in it. It looks like you did a whole bunch of trouble, but you know what? It isn't very complicated at all. This one has several variations to it. One of them, the one my family likes, is, and we've eaten this one ever since I was in high school. Okay, and so that was a long, long time ago. Too long ago. And anyway, we fill the muffin cups about halfway up. You put a small amount of jelly or jam on the top of the mix, and then you finish filling the muffin tin. That's one of our favorites. We've used that for years and years and years. We call it surprise muffins. I don't know if it's actually got a name in it, but it's a good one for us. Another variation is cheddar muffins of this. Use up cheddar cheese, bacon, fresh chives or dried chives. And you do this one using the same muffin mix, okay? And you have cheddar muffins, maybe for your chili or something like that, or your soups. Another one is cinnamon raisin muffins. And here you have raisins and you have cinnamon. 2 basic, very good preps that should be on your pantry, in your pantry. So there we go. There's your 3 variations for that, including my jelly one. The next one is, and I'm giving you a lot of recipes because like I said, I have a great need for getting these recipes out, and I think we're running out of time. Here's another hot chocolate one. The only thing you're different here is from the hot chocolate mixes that I gave you last time, was you add cinnamon to it, and cinnamon is a very good inflammatory. It is a very good spice. It's a warm spice that will help you protect yourself from all these different diseases that are going around. And I'm talking flu, and I'm talking cold also, okay? So it's a basic chocolate recipe, except you add cinnamon to it. Got miniature marshmallows in it. I don't know about you, but I dry my miniature marshmallows. I dehydrate them, and then they take up that space, and I throw a handful in. And when you use your hot milk or your hot water, you know what? They swell right up, and you don't know they're dehydrated. Okay, I put them a lot of times in my grandchildren and great-grandchildren's coffee, well not coffee, cocoa mixes that I use for them. Next one, French salad dressing mix. I don't know how many of you eat for dressings. I've got several dressing recipes. This one is a mix, and you put these things together, and you notice it's all basic spices again, the basic herbs. Put them together, and you add vegetable oil, vinegar, and water. Make sure you have plenty of vegetable oil, plenty of vinegar, and purified water, spring water, bottled water, in order to make this. And like I said, it's another easy recipe. And so you just make it up and you put it in your you make up the mix, and when it comes time to make up the dressing, you just make the dressing up and you put it in your refrigerator. This one, I believe, makes 3 batches of, says 3 batches of dressing, so it will last you a long, long time. And again, these things, if you put them in a Ziploc bag in a cool, dark place, in a dry place, they last forever, okay? And it'll last a lot longer than those dressings that you can buy at the store. And it will taste fresher because you're using fresh herbs and you're using fresh herbs and spices. Okay, next one. We got to remember our children. If today is going to be as rough as we think they're going to be, we're going to need some way to keep them entertained. So this is a good recipe. I've made this several times with for my grandchildren. In fact, one time my grandchildren were over at my place. They had a friend and they were looking for something to do, and I don't know, they looked in one of my recipe books. So that's very unusual at that time. They looked in one of my recipe books and they came up with this recipe. They were quite a bit older, but they had fun putting this recipe together, and then they had fun playing with it. Kids have all kinds of imaginations, and sometimes we just have to let them go and let them play out those imaginations. This time they did. I was always amazed at what they came up with and how they celebrated it all. So the next one and the very last one for today. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not the last one. This is something, apple pudding. I like to put an oddball in there. And with apples becoming the season, this is one of our favorite recipes. And it's in my cookbook. And when my cookbook first came out, I had a friend who is a very, very good cook. And I mean, she's a terrific cook. She was a terrific cook. We lost her this last year due to a pandemic. But anyway, she said that she had made this recipe. And she put it on the table to cool off. And her husband and her children came in about that time. And they ate it all up. And I mean, she says they ate it all up. And I didn't even get a bite of it. So she says I had to make a second batch just so I would get a bite of it. And she says, believe me, they ask for it all the time. They love this recipe. And that, to me, was the greatest praise I could have gotten from anybody. Apple pudding. Very simple. Very easy. And, like I said, those of us that eat it, love it. In fact, I think I got it from an old friend, a Facebook friend from Texas, as I believe. Or maybe it came from Tennessee. It came from one of those places, okay? This one, last one, very last one. And I put this one in here because it's about like your hot cocoa mixes. but it's not. This is my favorite, one of my favorite coffee mixes. And I have several coffee mixes, and I'll be sticking them in lately as we go along. And you use instant coffee. Make sure you have some instant coffee on your pantry list, okay? Um, you can use it. It lasts forever as long as you don't open it. And once you open it, yes, it doesn't taste as good as the ground, but when you're in a tight spot and you want your coffee, that'll be just fine, okay? So this one you uses the instant coffee, it's non-fat dry milk, coffee creamer, brown sugar, butterscotch pudding. This is the only one that different thing is it. They use butterscotch pudding in it. And you pulse it all in a food processor or a blender until it's well blended. You break down your coffee granules to become the same size as your powdered milk granules and so forth. Okay, then to use it, you use, it says 3 tablespoons to a 3/4 cup of boiling water. I don't usually use that much because, well, to me that gives me one heck of a coffee thing. But that's up to you. Okay, you can adjust that to your desired taste. But that's toffee coffee mix. I've got other coffee mixes that'll be coming up that you might like. I got cappuccino mixes. I've got all kinds of mixes. So this is it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye. God bless you.